and we are here in Washington, D.C. in the offices of Pillsbury Winthrop Shaw Pittman, and they are Success in the City sponsors for our CEO conversational series. CEO Chick Chat is what we like to call it, because it really is a conversation with extraordinary women who have shared their experiences with us. And what we found is that if you take the time, and I like to say, if you take the time to get to know anybody who crosses your path in your life, what you will find is that their life is worthy of a lifetime movie. So I want to find out what's going on in Wanda's that makes her like a lifetime movie. Actually, I know Wanda. She's a friend of mine, but she's an amazing, incredible woman. And I'm excited that you're able to hear her story today. So, and I know you're not afraid of me, I'm afraid of her. She'll tell you. What I love about Wanda, you have that girlfriend who tells you the truth. Yeah. She'll tell you the truth. But she'll say it with words of wisdom that you go, you know, that was really sharing something that I needed to know. So if I do something, because we have friends, and sometimes they're always really, I'm always nice to everybody. I don't tell them like your underwear is showing in the back. Actually, I do. But
tell them that.
Yeah, I do tell them that. But it's good when you've got that girlfriend who really tells you the truth. When you're complaining, she says, well, what are you going to do about it? Well, why didn't you do something about it? And we need to be challenged that way, and that's one of the reasons I love you. So let's begin the story with Wanda. You're a local girl, gone good.
I am a local D.C. girl. Yes, I am.
So tell us about your family and what it was like growing up here and what your experiences were like in your childhood and about how many kids were in your family, what your parents did.
Okay. Well, I'm the middle daughter of Grace and Sam Alexander. Sam was from Mississippi and Grace was from Roanoke. So if the southern drawl shows up during the conversation, that's where it came from. I am the middle of five, like I said, and we grew up in Northeast D.C., 2117 I Street, Northeast, apartment 10, 399-9173. This was before area codes were out, and as you can see, we were required to memorize where we lived. And there's a good reason for that. I ended up missing once, but and it was good that I knew that information. But because my dad was a firefighter, he went in the fire department literally the Monday after I was born. I was born on Mother's Day. I thought I was the greatest gift they ever received. And on Monday morning, he went into the fire department in D.C. in the last segregated firehouse in the District of Columbia. And he was also the first African-American assistant to the fire chief. And he was an amazing, amazing, amazing man. And his whole intention from the time I think he spoke to us in the womb, and he leaned over and said, you will go to college. We came out of the womb knowing we would go to college. And every 2 weeks, my father would come home and open this silver container. And in it were savings bonds. And he would put one in and my mother would put one in. And then when the box got full, he'd get another box and another box. And then when my sister went to college, he opened the first box, took them out in order, cashed them, and so we knew those silver boxes represented, you will go to college. And so I always tell people love for me was in a silver box because I knew that his intention was the highest good for me and my siblings. And all 5 of us graduated from college. Some of us have, not me, but some of us have advanced degrees, not me.
I want to stop you there. So you can see, I think, just right now, a glimpse of why I love this girl. She is amazing, the story she shares. So you shared a couple of things. Number one is that when I went missing, it was good I knew my address. So we want to come back and talk about when you went missing. Okay. And it was good you knew your address. But I want to talk about, because a lot of times there are women in our generational age, we remember or are aware of segregation. And it's a really important part of our history. It's an important part of being a woman. Yes. And I'm always amazed when I meet, and I don't mean to separate people in a box, but we have incredible women friends who are African-American descent. And I know what the challenges were us for being a white woman going through those challenges, but you then add on that extra layer of color, which was distinction and how our culture and society viewed. I was raised all over the world in a military environment, and I didn't understand segregation and prejudice because we were all together, you know. So it was always been this topic to me that's fascinating. I never understood not liking somebody because of their pink shirt, the color of their skin, what their hair was like. I mean, so that's always a fascinating topic to me. So I think I bring this kind of unique perspective because, like, when I first moved here to the United States, because I was raised a lot overseas, and the first time I saw people protest, I go, what are they protesting? He said segregation. Who's segregating? Because I never was in a place where I had seen that before. So how was it your parents, were they sensitive to that issue, and were they conveying it to their children, you know, the only way we have opportunity is by education? What were you hearing or seeing and sensing? Because your dad was in the last segregated.
That's correct.
And then when did it become integrated?
It became integrated in the early 60s, and I didn't learn a lot about that process from my dad until I was an adult, and I was in the working world, and we would have these conversations. But it was difficult for him to go into an integrated system in the fire department. My father was an avid reader. He read books all the time. And one of the stories he shared is they would steal his books and say to him, what is the point of you reading? And he was a grown man. But the amazing thing about my dad, you would have never known if that bothered him. He just had this personality where he just didn't get ruffled. And the first time I saw my father shed a tear was when Martin Luther King was slain.
Really?
The very first time in my adult life. I mean, in my life, I was 10, so I wasn't adult. I thought I was an adult. But I was 10 years old, and it was a minute. If you didn't look, you missed it. And I was like, whoa. It made me want to know more about Martin Luther King. I mean, what's up with this guy? I mean, I was 10. Who paid attention? And my father taught us that we couldn't be limited by anything. Nothing. Your race, your sex, nothing can limit you. Now, if you believe it can, then it will. But he said there is nothing in this world you can't do. He would say it every day. There were sometimes I looked at him and said, really? Right now in gym, I can't get up that rope. So it helped me understand how that's going to happen. But he taught us that it was all about ignorance. He helped us to understand if people don't know you and they make a judgment about you, it's based on ignorance. It's based on something that they've been taught or something that they believe that's not true. So you have to deal with each and every person one-on-one, and you have to figure out what's on the inside of them, because outward appearance is a lie.
It's a lifetime movie theory. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Now, I want you to go back and just capture a couple moments of wisdom. And I always like to take a moment and say, I think we've had, you know, this diamond of wisdom here shared. Number one is what you tell your children, the conversation of the people you have around you is all encompassing. Yeah. How you have that conversation. So if you tell somebody they're not doing well, they're bad, if you begin to shape that for the generation that follows of what opportunity is, it's just like the sense of scarcity that we have in this country and being in a recession. It really is a perception. Don't be convinced that the exact same amount of money that existed a year ago in the world still exists. It's just how it's held. So you have to come with a different mindset to all the problems we have to face in this life and how we share. You can resolve anything. The other thing is I love telling somebody, I value so much, here's your silver box for your future. And anybody's got children, and I always hear these things like, darn, I wish I did that for my kids. If I had a silver box and say, this is your silver box. Your education means so much to me. It's in a silver box. And whatever that is, but if you love somebody or care about somebody or you share, even an employee that you care about, here's your silver box. And I'm putting your future here for you. I think that's just powerful, powerful.